Alright guys, welcome back to Phenomenal Fantasy Wrestling. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit different today. Since we're getting closer to the end of this season, and obviously we're hoping to recruit for next season, I'm going to do a rundown of how this game works, what we do, how we set it up, everything that goes into this game. And then I'm going to do the weekly recap, because obviously this is the recap video. I know I don't do as many of these as I would like to, and I'm sure as you guys would like to. I look at the views. Not many people watch them. I go by who sends me the answers to trivia questions. Maybe 2 or 3 of you, 4 for lucky. So I kind of just base it off of that and try to go couple weeks in. Plus, if nothing really changes on the board, obviously here lately it's been pretty much a standstill. I think as of right now, John moved up 2 spots, and that's really the basis of it. So of course Annie is still just destroying us all, and by more than she was last video. And I did give you guys the option to stop the season a little earlier than we had planned. Because of that, she's got such an advantage on us. It's going to take a lot for us to all come back. You guys didn't want to do that. The votes were pretty even, but for the most part, the votes were to either way was fine, or we wanted to keep it going out to Mania. So we will keep it going out to Mania. We're going to have a real good season going on. This is one of the best ones so far. We are in Season 3 of our game. Everybody's been really involved. I think that's helped due to the addition of the head-to-head matchups. Honestly, Phenomenal Fantasy Wrestling is something I came up with, but I did not just pop into my head, come up with it off the top of my head. I do other fantasy leagues that I'm a part of, and I've taken aspects of each of those leagues, and inspiration. I've started Phenomenal Fantasy Wrestling because I knew I had family members who liked wrestling. I thought it'd be real fun to do. I had done a fantasy wrestling league, and I was like, I could do that because the other league was a little slow on the points, was a little, and I understand it now running a league a little bit better. Sometimes you get a little burnout throughout the week, and sometimes you just want a little bit of a break. As long as you're not going, weeks and weeks, and I have had 2 weeks where, I know we got COVID, and, I was down and just did not feel like doing it a couple months ago. But, as long as you catch up, you let the guys know what's going on, you don't just, feel like you ghosted them. I don't see any problem there. Of course, everybody knows, if they have any questions or anything like that, they can write me and say, hey, what's up? But for the most part, I do take inspiration from other fantasy leagues I am in. These videos, obviously, that was all me. The way we do the draft was me. The way we do our rosters, that was a mixture of both. I took from one of the other fantasy things I'm in, who was doing just WWE, NXT, AEW, and that was it. Of course, I added the draft spot for the tag teams. I wanted Impact in there. I wanted, to give you a couple extra guys. With NWA, MLW, Ring of Honor. I wanted to add all those in there. The other one I was in just strictly WWE, NXT, AEW. And that's fun, but there's a lot more wrestling out there. There's a lot more people right now that I'm cheering for that aren't a part of either of those companies. I love the OGK. Right now, they've just showed up on Impact for Hard to Kill. Obviously, I'm sure when Ring of Honor starts back in April, they're going to be right back there. Maybe they'll do they'll keep the invasion thing going. Obviously, they just want to keep the guys working right now. I think it's funny. Mike Bennett was supposed to be in Alabama this past Saturday for New South Pro Wrestling, which is where I went and seen Danhausen a few months ago. And I wanted to go see him. I was planning to, and then they announced that he had pulled out, and Jimmy Wang Yang and his daughter was going to be there instead. I was like, okay. They didn't say why. And then as I'm watching Hard to Kill, here he comes, OGK out there, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Much better decision. I mean, I love New South. They're great. But, I mean, if you got the chance to show up on Impact in this invasion angle, obviously you're going to take it. And, the guy from New South's pretty awesome. So I'm sure he was... And he's coming back in March. I think they just rescheduled his appearance. So, I mean, great stuff. But in that, obviously, I'm going to go over the draft right now. What we do is we do a snake draft, top to bottom, bottom to top to bottom, bottom to top. Obviously, it's randomized. Previous season's winners have been able to pick the first pick in each round. I did away with that for this season because a lot of people had issues with that, even though we have never had a repeat winner. And sorry, Moose, it doesn't look like you're getting there this season. So, I mean, that really is a great advantage going into it. But, the way things happen in wrestling, that's not always the best decision. I mean, Moose, I think some of his original picks, his Raw pick was AJ Styles. I'm trying to look at my computer here to see. He's still got quite a few of his same picks from the earlier, and he is in 6th place, so he's not bad off. MSK, Roman Reigns, he's moved his NXT guy around. Not sure who he had to begin with, to be honest. Probably Adam Cole, someone like that. I think Josh had Adam Cole, actually. But anyway, right now AEW has Eddie Kingston. I think he might have started there. I'm not sure. Moose and Impact he did, which was a great pickup. Ring of Honor, Bandito. And the way I do Ring of Honor is Ring of Honor, NWA, MLW is one pick out of those 3 companies because they only have an hour-long show. It's not as, many points. They don't use the same guys every week. So it gives you an opportunity to have somebody. Then later on in the season, this past season, I was watching a lot of indie wrestling, so I added on an indie spot. A lot of guys didn't know many indie wrestlers. I tried to put it to people who weren't on main shows. Because you had guys like Wheeler Yuta who was showing up on AEW with Best Friends, but he's also, at the time, I think he was the independent wrestling champion. Same thing for Daniel Garcia. He was the independent wrestling champion. He beat Wheeler Yuta. Now I have Alex Shelley is that champion. And he would count in this category because, take that back, he's on MLW quite a bit, so he wouldn't have counted. Anyway, that category did not last very long. And it turned into a wild card spot where you could pick up somebody from anywhere, a tag team or a singles competitor. So it gave us a second tag team spot, which I think everybody really liked. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, he still got Moose's female wildcard pick with Shayna Baszler. He still got her. Chris Jericho. And, I mean, he's got a lot of points right now, but he's still about 2,000 points behind the leader. So, obviously, it's not as big advantage as some would make it out to be. But it was a big enough advantage where I had several people write me and say that's not fair. So I just changed it. The winner will get a I haven't announced what the prize will be. I've got it in my mind. Obviously, if Annie does take home the win, it's not going to be what I originally had in mind. If the wife wins, then she's going to want something different than what I would give one of the boys. And I don't mean the boys as in males. I mean boys as in one of the gang. One of the group. It's not like a boy versus girl type item. Anyway, don't want to ramble on. I don't want this video to be too long and turn some people off. Okay, so that's basically how we do the draft. I got to the NWA. Okay, so we start off snake draft. First category is tag teams. You get one tag team. Has to be somebody who's teamed for, I like to say a year, but if you're a legit tag team, you're a legit tag team. I don't want two guys who are thrown together and who have only been teaming a few months, and inevitably there's going to be a breakup. That bit me in the butt last season because I thought any day now Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler was going to implode. I mean, it did eventually, but not the whole season of Moose having them. He had them both as singles. They destroyed us in points. That's basically why he won last season. But I didn't count them as a tag team. Because I thought inevitably they were going to break up. But somebody like Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, where they're the Dirty Dogs, they've been together quite a while, they would count as a tag team. AJ Styles and Omos, I did not count as a tag team this year because they had only been tagging less than a year. So Moose picked him up as a single. I'll have a list in the announcement section of all the stars that are available to pick up, tag teams included. I try to keep it updated as much as possible after each week's trade thread. It's been a little while since I've looked at it. There's not been many trades going on either. One here and there. It should be really easy for me to keep up with it. It has not been. I apologize for that, guys. Okay, so the first category, tag teams. Second category, next season I am going to do away with separating Raw and SmackDown, and we're just going to have WWE. Okay, so either Raw or SmackDown, not NXT in this one, unless something happens in between now and after Mania, and it needs to be included. But with all the releases, all that, they did the draft. It just wasn't worth making people drop good people to pick up terrible people who hardly got points based on the fact that this person was no longer on this brand. So I let it go. I didn't make people switch around. And nobody really has made any moves and we're on SmackDown anyway. We did have them separated this season. Next season, it will be just one category. WWE, Raw, SmackDown stars. And that'll be our second pick. Third pick will be NXT UK. I combine the two of those. Not many people pick any UK people unless there's a title match coming up or something big. And then they make moves there. But usually NXT US is the way to go in that category. For me, I usually use my NXT UK people as a wild card, and we'll get to that. Fourth category, AEW, obviously. And you get points for, I guess I should run this down. Tag teams get points, any brand. And that is for any brand. It's not, those tag teams can be on any brand that we do. WWE spot will get points for anything they do. I'm not picky about which show it is. I watch everything I possibly can. AEW Dark Elevation, Rampage, Dynamite, Raw, SmackDown. I don't give points for Raw Talk or SmackDown Talk or whatever those shows, The Bump. I don't watch those, so there are no points for those. If somebody wants to start sending me, a recap of those, and, then maybe I'll include them. But I do 205 Live because a lot of NXT stars end up on 205 Live. I do main event because people who haven't quite made it to Raw yet. Veer. have been on Main Event. And like I said, Veer. Every week we get Veer's coming to Raw. Veer's coming to Raw. Well, Veer's been wrestling on Main Event, so that's as close as Raw he's gotten. Nobody has him, so obviously that's okay. But with that, I give points for anywhere you're wrestling, because a lot of AEW, Impact, MLW, NWA, they wrestle on the indies quite a lot. So I give points for all the indies. Okay, next category. Okay, so we do tag teams, we do WWE, NXT, NXT UK, AEW, then we go to Impact. I do before the Impact, and then the Impact Weekly Show. I think, yeah, that's all they have. So, before Impact comes on, after, and then the main show. The digital media stuff. If I see what happened on there, I think it's on YouTube. I was subscribed to that for a little bit. Didn't use it as much as I wanted to. I didn't watch as much on there because I was watching Impact Live on the WatchProWrestling.live website. The only thing I was watching on there were the monthly specials because I didn't like Impact Plus, basically. Alright, so after that we do NWA, Ring of Honor, MLW. Like I said, they only each have an hour show. They don't use all their stars every week. Ring of Honor actually has 3 shows that come on during the week. They have their TV, they have week by week, and they have the women's division Wednesdays. Maybe a match on each of those happens. Well, maybe 2 on the week by week. And then 3 on the weekly show, depending on if there's a big match. So they don't use a lot of stars. NWA just introduced their new show, NWA USA. MLW starting to do a little bit more. They don't do Fusion Alpha anymore. Now it's MLW Azteca. And then whenever they come on Vice, I don't know when their actual stuff's going to start. We should start seeing more of those if we need to open up that category because they start using people more. We might start doing that. And we'll just have to wait and see. I am going to keep the single tag team wildcard spot next season. So wildcards, we're going to have 4 wildcard spots. One will be either a single or a tag team. One will be a female only. And then 2 other spots. Can go to anybody, any brand, anywhere. I say this on just about every video. New Japan is welcome for you to pick up in the wildcard spots. I don't watch much New Japan. I get my results from New Japan off of cagematch.net. So I can't always guarantee you get every appearance point. So if somebody comes out, let's say Chaos comes out and every member of Chaos is standing in the ring, or they come to Aeromo, something like that, it's not going to come up on those results. Those results just have matches. If that happens, you can send it to me and say, hey, they appeared in this segment doing this, and I'll give you the 5 points. And that is how it works. 5 points for appearances. That's backstage, matches, promos. It does not count for, let's say, recaps of what happened last week. Recaps as in, this match is coming up. Let's look back at the feud between this person and this person. It does not count in that. It has to be a in-person promo. Yeah, I like the in-person promo for that. Either backstage, in the ring, on the Tron even, but a video that can be recorded a month ago and used today, that seems a little, you didn't appear on the show. So like MSK looking for the Shaman, Malachi Black doing his promos, trying to talk about the House of Black or who he's going to beat up next. He needs to hurry up and do something. I'm a little bit sick of Malachi Black. And I know that's going to get some hate. I know a lot of people love Malachi Black. I love Malachi Black. I'm just sick of what's going on right now. I wish they would do something with him. Other than he's going to come out there and he's going to kick the heads off of the Varsity Blondes. Who cares? They're the Varsity Blondes. You know, when he came in, did the whole thing with Cody, I thought it was great. And then Cody beat him. And that was it for me. The moment Cody defeated Malachi Black, I was done with Malachi Black. He's going to have to do something. They're going to have to bring in Brody Lee. And then maybe I'll get back into it. But right now, I am blah on Malachi Black. And it's not because of Malachi Black. It's AEW booking. And I'm doing that with a lot of WWE guys who have come over to AEW and have been just not done the way you think they should be done. Adam Cole, of course, he's going to come in and be Adam Cole, baby, because he's best friends with the Young Bucks. Miro, where the hell is Miro? You would have expected big things on Miro. Miro comes in being the best man for Kip Sabian and then wins the title, drops it to Sammy, and is gone. And don't tell me, well, he was just in the Eliminator tournament and lost to Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, whatever, because that's the only reason he was in that was because Jon Moxley had to pull out. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen him then either, because he wasn't even in that tournament to begin with, which is absurd to me. But I ramble, and that should be a different video. But that's the way we do it, guys. Those are the categories: tag team, WWE, NXT, NXT UK, AEW, Impact, NWA, MLW, Ring of Honor. 4 wild card spots. 1 has to be a tag team or single, so it could be either, anything. 1 has to be a female, and 1 has to be a female. They can all be females. 1 has to be a female. There was confusion on that with the last draft. Okay. Now, something else we do, and that was new for this season. I think it's been great. It's got a lot of people invested, a lot of people much more involved than they would have been if they just did the draft and then looked at the points weekly. Trade threads do go up on Friday, so if things are going different, if somebody gets hurt, somebody does this, you can trade them on Friday. Also, this season I introduced bench spots for people. That will not be coming back next season. That has been nothing but trouble. Because people sit on people and don't want to drop them. It was originally for, okay, let's say this person's contract runs out and they get fired till they come into the next thing. Adam Cole's contract runs out. Or let's not use him because he came in pretty quick. Johnny Gargano's contract ran out. You can bench him, which I think somebody has. And rumor is he'll be showing up, obviously, after Candice has the baby in a couple months. Would have been perfectly fine. There are people who have, and the goal on that was as soon as that person debuted somewhere, you pull them off. Well, some people didn't like it that somebody hadn't showed up in 2 weeks, so they wanted to bench this person and pick up somebody else, and then they're just leaving this person on the bench. Nobody specific. There are several people who have done that. I think we've nipped pretty much all that in the bud, except for maybe 2, and they don't really aren't that involved anyway. But I digress. Back to what I was getting at. Okay, so something has people really involved, really going at it this season, has been me introducing the head-to-head challenges. Basically, I put together a bunch of matches, and I'm not going to take credit for this. This did not come from my mind. I am in another fantasy league, and they started doing this, and I loved it. I know a lot of people are still saying, okay, you just ripped this off from another thing and brought it onto yours. Sorta. I don't do it as big as the other league does. I don't do as much, but I do. Yeah, I think it's funny when I say I do. I do put it to where you send me your predictions. Okay, say we just had day one. Day one, I had everybody sending me their predictions for the match card. They would send it to me privately, obviously, because you don't want your opponent to see it and copy yours or, tie you. I hate ties. I try to do multiple match cards as much as possible. Like if the weekend has an Impact WWE show or a week apart. This past one, we did day one. I did Hard to Kill. AEW had Battle of the Belts. NXT had New Year's Evil. And AEW had their debut on TBS, so they had some title matches on there. I pulled all that together. I sent out the match cards to everybody. They sent me their predictions on who was going to win each of those matches. I tallied them up. I picked matches out. And we do have a phenomenal fantasy championship. It is a virtual championship. There's just a picture. We also have the tag team championships. They're virtual. They're just pictures. I do not have actual titles. Maybe one day I could get actual titles. That would be freaking amazing. So help me make this stuff take off. Get these YouTube videos going. Share. Let's make this big on YouTube. Start bringing in some money, revenue, streams, likes, subscribe, all that good stuff. And then maybe I can afford to get some championships made. Anyway, I do not have championships. They are virtual. They're just a picture. They're on... I think they're on my phone. The title switched hands quite a bit. We've only had one set of tag champions. And they'll be defending at the Royal Rumble. But what I'll do is I'll just take matches. I'll put match cards together. Here and there, we've had people calling out other people. Right now, there's been... This past one, I had quite a few triple threat matches. The world title, phenomenal title, as I call it, went in a triple threat match, and we had a new champion crowned in Moose. Tag champions, Darren and Cassandra. They'll be defending at Royal Rumble against Raw and Ryan. Raw, the former now phenomenal champion. But that's all I do. I take those match cards, I send them, I put them in the group chat first. People send me their predictions based on that. If you don't get them sent to me, I will PM you the picture of match cards. That way, I want everybody to have a chance to get their predictions out there to me. Any changes that are made, I will get them to you as soon as they're done. As soon as that change is made, so you can get it to me, and then we can get things going the way they should be. But that is how this game works. And also, during these videos, I do trivia questions. They're good for points. Not on your main score. I do polls, like who's going to win the TBS Championship Tournament. And everybody who gets the right winner got points in a certain category. The trivia questions in a certain category. That person at the end of the season, whoever's leading in that, gets 2 steals. From after the draft's done, they can steal 2 people from whoever. The poll points, that's what they get for that. The head-to-head winner is just the championships, the bragging rights, basically. They have the championship going into the next season. That's really all as far as I went with that, was just bragging rights and having the title. on that. But that is the basis of what we do. We do the head-to-head challenges. We do the main show, the main fantasy, where you pick your people and you get based on what they do on TV. And we do trivia and poll points, which that was all me. So, like I said, I've taken things from other fantasy things. That one I did myself. Yeah, I think it was the G1 climax happened, and I posted, who do you think's going to win? Give you points. Before they were included in your main points for the game. This I've decided to separate them because I'm doing the trivias as well. I might do something a little different next season with that because I haven't done these videos as much, so there hasn't been as many trivia. Also, I haven't done as many polls because we use those brands now. Last season, I didn't use NWA, MLW, Ring of Honor. I didn't allow all the indie stuff. So those were basically polls that I put together and say, okay, who's going to win the G1? Who's going to win the Opera Cup and MLW? Now we get points based on your people. So I don't do those as much. If there was a title match, I would just do that in a poll. But now, we draft from those rosters, so I don't do as many polls as I did last season. All right. That being said, this is the end of the What is Phenomenal Fantasy Wrestling? Phenomenal Fantasy Wrestling is a fantasy draft game similar to fantasy football, baseball, where you draft your players in each different category. Kind of like football, you would draft wide receiver, quarterback, that. We just do it based on the brands. Now I'm going to get to the weekly recap. So if you want to keep watching, see how I do the points, how I break everything down, you can. Please join us. Obviously, Phenomenal Fantasy Wrestling on Facebook. I will put a link to the group in the chat or in the description of the video. I will also subscribe to this YouTube channel, because if you're playing the game, you're going to want to be on here for updates. I also do unboxings of the Pro Wrestling Tees, Pro Wrestling Crate, things I bought off Pro Wrestling Tees. I tried to do a news and rumor roundup type thing. Not many people tuned into that. I'm just trying to grow this channel and make it the best I can. Need your help with that, so let's get it out there. Let's get people going. All right, now I'm going to do the recap. Let me turn to the computer, and we will take a look. Okay, guys. I actually got a new ring light. It's more of a desktop one. It does not want to stay steady on this to where you guys can see it. So I'm just going to hold this. So we'll start here. Player Andrea, or Annie, her team here. And as you guys can see, tag teams, Raw and SmackDown, like I said, will compress into just WWE, NXT, NXT UK, AEW, Impact, NWA, Ring of Honor, MLW, single tag wild card, the 2 wild card spots, and then the female wild card. And she's sitting right now at 6,145 points. I am right below her at 5,180 points. So that is a big deficit. All right, next, after myself, sorry about that, Gideon sits in 3rd place, and he has 4,820 points. After that is Josh with 4,715 points. Below that is William with 4,665 points. Under that is Moose, 4,550 points. Under that, I believe, is John. I have to make sure. with 4,510 points. Under him is Joseph, 4,480 points. Below him, Darren, 4,420 points. Below him, Scott. Scott has 3,960 points. Next is, Markeith. Markeith has 3,930 points. Below that is Steven, who has 3,855 points. Below that, Raw. Raw has 3,805 points. All right. Under him, Ryan. I believe that's right. Sorry, guys. Come on. Unblur. There we go. 3,765 points. Yeah, Ryan. Christopher. Christopher has 3,445 points. Under him, I believe it said Ali. 3,105 points. After Ali, Cassandra. 3,100. Under that is Rob with 3,040. And then Blanky, who is sitting at the very bottom with 2,685 points. Okay. And that is the current order of things as of right now. Annie sits about 1,000 points ahead of all of us. Or ahead of me. Down here is where I was telling you guys about the poll points, where I do the trivia, the polls on the site. Right now, John is sitting ahead of me on that. And obviously, I can't answer my own trivia questions. I can participate in the polls because obviously I don't know the booking and who's going to win tournaments. But I do know the answer to the poll questions that I give out. So the way I've done that is if nobody answers the poll by 3 days after I posted the video. I don't want to say a certain day because usually I post the video different days. I usually give it about 3 days if nobody's answered the poll. If I look on there, nobody's watched the video, or people have watched the video and they're just not answering the poll questions, I take the points. Whatever those points were available to get. So if I do a big poll, which I did a couple months ago, where it was 50 points, nobody answered, I took the 50 points. So there is that. And just a piece of advice, if you guys own any of these domes, I don't know if you can see it. I got this John Cena dome from Five Below. Do not put these near a air freshener that sprays on its own. It will corrode the crap out of these. I've got that one. I've got a Finn Balor, and it destroyed them. I do have a couple others. I got Lashley and Ronda Rousey. I also have some legend ones too. But those two, I guess, were sitting in the wrong place, and they got sprayed with air freshener. One of those automatic air fresheners that blows out every like 15 minutes or so, and eventually it just corroded them. All right, the trivia question. Since we're in Royal Rumble season, I'm going to make it Royal Rumble related. And this is going to be worth 20 points because it's going to be an extensive question. All right, so Royal Rumble 2000. Who won that? What controversy did that cause? And how did we get to the main event of WrestleMania through that controversy? And what was the main event of WrestleMania? Okay, so I want the winner. I want what happened, who was in the main event of WrestleMania, and give me who won it. And we'll just make it 20 points. All right, guys. This is Phenomenal Fantasy Wrestling. Please like, subscribe to the channel. Please join us on Facebook for next season. This current season will end at WrestleMania. I have not picked a date as to when we will begin Season 4. Obviously, it will be sometime after WrestleMania. Once they put out a thorough schedule of pay-per-views for the year, then I will pick a date. Usually we start out with a WWE pay-per-view. Preferably one that has like a big weekend, maybe an Impact pay-per-view and WWE pay-per-view in the same weekend. But I'm thinking Money in the Bank. Just depends on when that takes place. All right, guys. I will see y'all later. Please like, subscribe, and join us everywhere you can join us. Thank you. Bye.